Hello, everybody, to Rock Kaput. This is Oliver. I'm having a great guest today. It's Phil from Greece by way of France. And we are going to be talking about a band that's, I think, very close to Phil's heart because I think his most favorite band would sound way differently if this band wouldn't exist, or maybe they wouldn't exist at all, whatever. We are talking about Canadian progressive rock titans Rush, who are on tour right now, and there's a bit of German DNA in the band because
Yeah.
they have a female German drummer who is replacing the late Neil Peart, of course, Annika Nilles, and I think she had a, had some big shoes to fill, but I think she convinced most of the fans, as far as I heard. Um, so okay, we are going to do a full discography ranking for this band, 19 albums. If you enjoy our rankings, of course, give us your thumbs up, subscribe to our channel, and be prepared to give us all your comments on Rush and your favorite albums. Um, Before we start, I will give a very short run through the history of the band. I will make this very snappy. So the band forms in the late 60s. Alex Lifeson is the only um, founding member who's left today. So he forms this band with two other guys. One is John Rutsey. Geddy Lee gets into the band, the bass player and vocalist, and they record their first album in 1973 and 74. It's called Rush. Shortly afterwards, John Rutsey walks out and Neil Peart joins, and that is when, yeah, most people would say this is when Rush really starts. These three stay together for the whole um, time until 2015. So they record their second album in 75. Fly By Night becomes a first success. And yeah, they have a couple of setbacks during that time, but they progress
Yeah.
during the 70s, doing this prog rock as a three-piece. Then they become a little bit more poppy in the 80s, introduce more synthesizers. In the 90s, they yeah, go a little bit alternative rock, you could say. In 1996 or 97, Neil Peart loses his daughter, and shortly afterwards, he loses his wife. So they take a break, the longest break in the history of the band. In 2002, they record their 18th album. No, wrong.
Their 17th
Their
album.
17th album, right.
Yes.
Um, their 18th album comes out in 2007. In 2012, they record their final album. In 2015, Neil Peart calls it quits, and he dies in 2020. The band has reunited for the first time since then and is currently on tour, going to be in Europe next year. So yeah, that's a little bit about Rush. There will be more when we talk about the records. 19
Yeah.
albums. We do it in packages. We start with the lowest four, and then we go in five packages, three each. And Philip,
Yeah.
you have the honor to start.
Yeah. Okay. I'll just say quickly that, yeah, Rush for me is, I mean, you mentioned earlier my favorite band wouldn't be the same without them. And my favorite band, basically, if I do have a favorite band, that probably is Dream Theater. So, like, like the most well-known and revered prog metal band who have owe a lot, a tremendous amount to Rush. And for me, Rush represent everything that I love about progressive rock and metal together. They are considered the first prog metal band. It's still debatable, and they really like they combine all these things that I really cherish a lot in progressive music, which is musicality, great musicality, challenging musicality for the listener, but also lyricism, melody, power, epicness, and a lot of emotion. So all these things come together and they make what I think is Rush throughout their entire career, despite obvious changes to the packaging and the sound throughout the decades. And I have to thank you for pronouncing the drummer's name correctly, since you're German as well, because everyone's calling her Annika Niles, and that's not correct, obviously. It's Annika Niles, and I think that she is filling big shoes, but she's got big feet as well. She's played for Jeff Beck. She's an amazing, amazing drummer, and I cannot wait for the maybe it's utopian, but maybe one day they'll record new music. Who knows? Geddy Lee sounds fantastic on vocals right now, so who knows? Anyway, okay, so I'll start my ranking. At number 19, I'm gonna go with one of the albums that basically ushered them into the 90s, and that is this one here, Roll the Bones from 1991. So as you said, in the 90s, they kind of start going into this alternative rock sphere. They were a band that was very good at uh, understanding what the vibe of that time was, what the predominant sound of the era was, and they were able to fine tune their sound and their playing to those expectations, not for the sake of selling albums, but because they simply are a progressive band and they cannot stay stagnant on the same sound. However, Roll the Bones, well, pun intended, I have a bone to pick with this one, which is that basically it has two tunes, which I think are great, and they've been staples for the band on their set list for a very long time. Those are the first two tracks, Dreamline and Bravado. The self-titled Roll the Bones has that famous rap passage. I guess it's very 90s, maybe very late 80s as well. It just doesn't work for me. It doesn't work for the majority of fans, I think. It sticks out in a very, very bad way. The rest of the album is not bad. Rush have never released a bad album, but most of the tunes pass by and you don't really notice them. That being said, there is the instrumental Where Is My Thing, which is one of the first instrumentals after a long time where they didn't record instrumentals, and Rush have always been famous for their instrumentals, which are always remarkable. So anyway, they don't have a bad album, but for me, the least good is Roll the Bones at 19. Continuing then with the 1990s period, I'm going with Test for Echo with this very minimalist cover. They're not known always for having minimalistic covers, but this one is very minimalistic. Again, a Hugh Syme cover. They're famous for their collaboration with Hugh Syme. Again, this is not a bad album. It's not either not mediocre, but most of the tunes pass by and you don't notice them again. There are some which are a little bit even a bit, how should I say it, sentimental, almost like the alternative rock part is starting to verge a lot on U2 territory. Sometimes they're good at replicating U2, sometimes it doesn't really work. There are songs like Dog Years with those kind of very cheesy lyrics about, how many years for a dog and how many years for a human. It's kind of weird. Rush have always been famous for their lyrics, for the lyrics of Neil Peart. He was always called the professor because his lyrics were so like intellectual and with beautiful vocabulary and metaphors, like poetry basically. And then he writes something like Dog Years. Anyway, the self-titled opening track, Test for Echo, is pretty good, very representative of that more heavy period that they were getting into, getting closer to the noughties. They were becoming much more heavy, darker, mid-tempo songs. Generally very dark tunes. Driven is that very proggy kind of, it has that very prog rhythm in an odd time signature. And Time and Motion is a really good song, actually. It could have been easily on previous albums. But the rest, again, is kind of, again, doesn't really register with me. Resist is kind of that nice lyrical Rush, but the alternative rock lyrical. It doesn't have that more profound emotion. It's kind of surface level. But okay, so 18 is Test for Echo. And then I'm going with what is usually the worst album for the majority of fans, I think, which is the Red Album, Hold Your Fire, from 1987. Now, we're going back to the 80s. This is well known for being that most electro synth pop album of the band. They went full synth pop on this one. You don't hear so much guitar on this one. You hear a lot of samples from the drums, a lot of electronic drums. And the compositions are very lush, again, full of synthesizers and many samples and just very like lush sounds, very emotional, slow songs. I personally don't mind it. I think that for what this is, they did an excellent job. And I think that in some of the songs, you can really hear the original spirit of Rush, that musicality, the lyricism, the melody and emotion, the power, the epic feel like in Mission. Mission is really epic. You know, if you get past what the sound is like, it's really epic. Time Stands Still is a gorgeous tune, very U2. But when you know the lyrics and what they mean about the passing of time and losing friends and loved ones, and you sing those songs, especially in concert, then it's really something. So I like this album, but again, it stands at 17. And at 16, we're going to 1989. So that's the one after Hold Your Fire. It's Presto with, you know, that cover with the a hat coming out of the, sorry, the bunnies coming out of a hat on a mountain. Presto is that marks that sudden shift into heavier, a little bit darker territory, going into that alternative period. Show Don't Tell is a terrific song, very proggy, very odd time signatures, nice alterations, nice different passages from one to the next, and it has a song that I consider a masterpiece in the discography, in the catalog of the band, and a masterpiece for many, The Pass. It gained more prominence after they played it on the Russian Rio tour and on that CD. And it's a beautiful song. Again, that more profound, deeper emotional aspect. Geddy Lee sings with such honesty and such depth, and he really interprets the lyrics, which I think are about suicide and mental health. Presto is a nice song that also marks a return to the acoustic guitar. You have nice acoustic passages here as well. Alex Lifeson is doing a great job on the acoustic guitar, and we will hear more acoustic guitars going into the 90s and to the noughties. And I actually really appreciate that. The acoustic guitar has always been a part of the spirit of Rush. So those are my first four. On to you.
Yeah, very cool. Thank you. Nice. So, yeah, before I start, just about my past with Rush. So the
Yeah.
first time I heard about Rush was when their live album A Show of Hands came out. I think that was
Mm.
88 or 89. I saw a review in a metal magazine. I think it was Record of the Month, and you have to know, or our viewers have to know, that Rush, they weren't a big name in Germany ever.
Huh.
So I never heard about them. They didn't have any single hits. I don't know. I don't think any albums charted until that point. Um, so that was the first time I noticed them. And shortly after, Presto came out, which also was Record of the Month in my metal magazine that I always read. Um, Friends of mine went to see them on the Bones tour, where they took Primus with them and went to
Mm.
Europe. Um, and were gushing on about how great they were. So they were around, but I never got to listen to them. And that was only, I think, about 10 years ago or something, where I bought all of their albums and wanted to get into them, listen to all of them basically from start to finish. So I didn't experience these albums in real time, but yeah, took them all in. So yeah, people who knew them in the 70s and have problems with the stuff in the 80s. I don't have these problems because that was all just one bunch of music. And I like that that they changed their sound so much during these times. I think that's fun to get into a
Yeah.
discography that's so deep and so varied. But my lowest four albums I are probably the four that I know the least. And I think, yeah, maybe I know them. I don't know them that well because I don't like him that much. Maybe it's the other way
Maybe
around.
that's
I don't know. But I agree they don't have a really bad album. But yeah, these just didn't stick with me. And my number 19, you already mentioned it, is Test for Echo
okay.
from 1996. So it's their It's their 16th album produced by Peter Collins. And yeah, to me, this is a bit sounds a bit adult contemporary. So they were poppy before and synthy and not that much rocking, but yeah, and you could say from the albums before they didn't change their sound too much, but somehow this is very to me it's kind of boring. Nothing really stands out. Um, like you said, that it's not really bad, but when the album passes, nothing really sticks to you. So uh, the song I keep remembering is the opener, the title track, because it's the opener and it's the one where you go into the album and afterwards it's kind of a slog. And I agree on Dog Years, that also rubbed me the wrong way. I think the lyrics are kind of kitschy, and Neil Peart has that sometimes. I think some of his lyrics I love. Some are kind of too literal for me, maybe, and they seem kitschy and are very on the nose. Sometimes he gets a little bit.
Sometimes it's that on the nose. Yeah.
Sometimes he gets a little bit too preachy, and sometimes I have the impression he's like this first semester philosophy student who's really into the stuff he just learned.
Yeah, yeah. Well, they call him the professor, so
Yeah,
he could be a bit preachy. That's true.
yeah. So he's a bit hit and miss for me in the lyrics department. And Dog Years, yeah, the song isn't too good as well. So yeah, number 19, Test for Echo. My number 18 is Vapor Trails
All
from
right.
2002, their 17th album. And this is the album that yeah, came out after a longer break because, like I mentioned before, Neil Peart lost
Mhm.
his daughter in an accident, and a year later his wife died because of cancer. And they took a long break, I think 6 years, which is the longest gap between albums they ever had. This one is a little bit heavier than Test for Echo, but like that one, it didn't really stick to me. I listened to it a couple of times. It's not bad, but yeah, somehow I couldn't really get into it. Um, yeah, not much to say about it. It's my
Yeah.
number 18. My number 17 is the only album I don't own, and it's their last one. It's Clockwork Angels from
Yeah.
2012.
Thank you.
Thank you. I think it's their crappiest cover.
Yeah, everyone says that basically it looks like it could have been made with AI,
Yeah,
basically.
yeah, it looks like an animation from a computer game in the 90s or
Yeah,
something like
yeah.
that.
Like
It
Iron
doesn't,
Maiden Dance of Death or something. Yeah.
yeah, it doesn't look good. It's surprisingly heavy. I think it's probably the heaviest album in quite some time, um, and it's a good album. It's energetic. I love the song "The Wreckers,"
Hmm.
which is absolutely gorgeous, but it's the only song that really yeah, stood out to me. Um, so yeah, number 17, Clockwork Angels. They're up to now their final album. We'll see if there will be another one, hopefully.
Who knows? Yeah, why not?
And my number 16 is their second to last. It's Snakes and Arrows from 2007. Um, yeah, and I switched these last four around. It's 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 basically the same. I think it has uh, the best songs. All of these. I think the second half is stronger than the first one. It really
Okay.
gets going after the instrumental. The main Monkey Business, The Way the Wind Blows, is beautiful. Bravest Face is a great song. Good News
Yeah.
First. We Hold On, the final track. So yeah, this has a couple of songs that yeah, kind of stuck to me, earwormy quality, which I always like. So from their newest bunch, this is to me the best one, and it comes out on 16, Snakes and Arrows.
Awesome. Yeah, no, I like Snakes and Arrows, and it's been maligned a lot, this album. I don't know why. I think it's very good, but I'll get to that very soon. Okay, so 19, 18, 17, 16. My 15, you mentioned already, Vapor Trails. This is the first album I experienced in real time. So this is from 2002. I had started to listen to them basically on the cusp of the noughties. So this was the first one that came out, which I got in real time. And for that reason, obviously, I have a bit of a sentimental connection to it. But what I'll say, and what is well known about this album, is that it's a victim of the volume wars. So what happened basically is that at the mastering, Paul Northfield, I don't know, the producer decided to just draw it, draw the volume to 11, to quote Spinal Tap, and it sounds too loud. The heaviness of the album doesn't just come out of the compositions, it comes also out of that way over-mastered sound. And the album was remixed in 2013, and I think that sounds a little bit more balanced. But yes, this one is way too loud. That's the problem with it. So when you get an opening track like One Little Victory, which is really heavy, crushing heavy for the standards of Rush, with that over-mastered sound, it is again overpowering. It is too much. However, this album has 5 songs which I think are a 10 out of 10. One Little Victory, it's a kind of front-loaded album. So I would say, yeah, the first 3 songs, One Little Victory, Ceiling Unlimited, Ghost Rider, Secret Touch, and Earthshine are gorgeous, gorgeous tunes, great compositions. And if you can get over the very overpowering sound, these are great compositions, very Rush, just much more heavy going into that period of the noughties. The cover itself is like, telling us this is heavy. It's got like a fireball in the front. I mean, come on. Where is the poetic, lyrical Rush cover that we are used to from the 70s? Okay, moving on. My next one is, so we're doing 3 now. My next one is their first album, Rush, with John Rutsey on the drums. Very good drummer. Okay, this album has some of the seeds of what would come later. It has some progginess to it. Working Man, obviously, is, they still play it almost on every tour. It's a necessary staple. It has that instrumental section, which is very, challenging, musical, proggy. The rest is the typical kind of British blues boom style, Led Zeppelin, Cream, The Who. These were some of the bands that influenced them, and they have covered in one of their album. They made a covers album. I forget what it's called right now. So for what it is, it's really good. Finding My Way is great. In the Mood is a cool tune, and Working Man is a terrific song. But for obvious reasons, it still ranks kind of low. I return to it every now and then. For my 13 is going to be, you mentioned already, Snakes and Arrows. So, this one is a grower. And one reason it's a grower is maybe because it has a few songs too many. I think that in the noughties, their albums they just had too many songs. They needed a producer who would tell them what to cut out, because there are maybe just a few songs too many. That being said, this one has 2 instrumentals, not just 1, but 2. 3 actually, sorry. The Main Monkey Business, Hope, which is kind of like a sort of intro, and Malignant Narcissism. The Main Monkey Business and Malignant Narcissism are terrific, like really powerful instrumentals. The bass guitar is really up front. I love hearing Geddy Lee's lead bass guitar. Far Cry is a great opener. It sounds great also in concert. Armor and Sword, Walking Them Angels is like it feels like a very 60s tune with those those chordal riffs, Spindrift, dark, riffy. I love the acoustic guitar, and Bravest Face, you mentioned, is a beautiful song with a really catchy chorus with also great lyrics this time. Like, what does he say? In the whole wide world, there's no magical place, so you might as well rise up, put on your bravest face. Really like that. Very pragmatic. He was a very pragmatic kind of guy in how he preached. So yeah, a little bit of everything. I think we are not too far from in our rankings. So
yeah.
Off to you.
Okay, so my number 15. Oh, wait a second. So my number 15 is their debut.
Ah, there we go. Okay.
And yeah, it's kind of funny because usually this would be an easy candidate for last place album because it just stands out so much from their discography. It doesn't really sound like them. Like you said, there are a couple of songs where you kind of can feel where they will be going, or retroactively you feel where they would be going.
Yeah.
But yeah, they sound completely like a Led Zeppelin clone. Even Geddy Lee sounds like Robert Plant on
Yeah.
this album. Um, so yeah, it would be a very cheap and easy choice to put it last. But I don't know. I enjoy this album. I think it's very catchy, cool songs. And they always were good songwriters, even when they were stretching out their songs to, I don't know, 10, 20 minutes. But yeah, here you will get mostly the short rocking rush and yeah, some great songs. Finding My Way, Working Man. You mentioned it, In the Mood. Yeah, this is a nice one, and I put it on 15.
All right.
So my wait a second.
14.
Yeah, so my number 14 is their second album, Fly By Night.
Oh, okay.
And yeah, it's the album that kind of broke them. And here they started. So Neil Peart is in the band. Here they started to become this prog rock band with these nerdy fantasy lyrics. Um, some great tunes on there. Anthem, the opener is amazing. It, still, Fly By Night also great. The title track. Still, it's when you compare it to where they would be going from here, it's still a little bit immature. And there are a couple of tracks I don't like that much. I'm really not that big on their first epic, Baitor and the Snow Dog.
Okay.
I don't like it that much. I mean, it's not a bad song, but to me, it seems kind of simple. And for a track that's almost 10 minutes long, and I really, really hate Rivendell. Um,
Hmm.
uh, I'm I'm really kind of mixed on these Lord of the Rings kind of fandom stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
I I uh, I like it when black metal and death metal bands are doing it, but uh, otherwise I really have problems with this. And this is kind of a ballad and singing about the elves and peace and harmony, and it's very hippie. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
not a
yeah.
bad song, but it kind of rubs me the wrong way. Um, Still not a bad album. Yeah, this is my number 14.
All right.
And
Mhm.
my number 13, and I thought this would be lower, is the next one, Caress of Steel.
All right.
And yeah, maybe I could switch it with Fly By Night. I don't know. Right now, I think this is more interesting, and there's no Rivendell on it. That's a plus for me. I love Bastille Day, great song. Um, the next one, I think I'm going bald, is a weird choice on this album. It kind of
No, it
doesn't
sticks out. It
it
sticks out
doesn't
right.
really fit in there. I mean, the title alone, but still, I somehow like it. Yeah, and then we have these two. Lakeside Park is beautiful. I love that one. And then we have these two epics, The Necromancer, um, and what's the other one? Rivers of Lamneth, right? What's it called?
The Fountain of Lamneth.
Fountain of Lamneth. Thank you.
Yes.
It's super small. The titles are printed very small on this one.
Yeah.
Yeah, and yeah, very epic, long tracks, lots of stuff happening, different parts. So I think it's just a little bit more interesting than Fly By Night, which is still more straight. But Caress of Steel was a huge flop. Um,
Yeah. It
so
was.
a disappointment after the success of Fly By Night. Their label told them for the next album to keep it poppy and accessible, but yeah, we know how that turned out.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
yeah, so this is my number 13, Caress of Steel.
Okay, so moving on then to my number 12. You mentioned it already, Clockwork Angels. So the final album. Um, Generally, consensus is, and I go with this, is that yeah, it's a pretty good album to go out with. Again, too many songs. They could have taken out at least three songs, definitely. There are too many. When you look back at their golden days, they had just the right amount of songs, and the duration, the album wouldn't overstay its welcome. Here, they tend to overstay their welcome a little bit, which can be a problem. That being said, this album is really heavy, very musical, challenging, has many different layers. It's got songs that are really powerful and crushing. It has songs that are much more emotional, lyrical. Of course, The Garden that closes is kind of like the statement that Neil Peart makes about the meaning of life, what kind of life one should live. And it has that quality of like, I don't know, like a closer to the heart from the 70s, or something like Different Strings from Permanent Waves. It has that kind of deeper again emotion. I really appreciate the emotional side of Rush when they don't get too sappy sentimental. Headlong Flight, I mean, the first time I heard that, I said to myself, is this Bastille Day? It's got that quality to it. It's very guitar driven. Beautiful album. Just a few songs could have been removed, and I think that would have made it a much stronger album. Going to my number 11, I'm going to Power Windows. This one is also very maligned, like Hold Your Fire, because it is full-on synthwave with many samples, electronic drums. This is where already before this, the band have fallen in love with the Police. Alex Lifeson's guitar sounds like that of Andy Summers. They have similar sounds, similar style of riffing. But damn, this is a good album. I really, really like this album. Like I've told myself many times, I shouldn't like it. The consensus is that it's not good. I shouldn't like it, right? But I just love it. I'll agree that Mystic Rhythms that closes it is a little bit sentimental and too lush with the synthy sounds, and so is maybe Emotion Detector. But everything else is amazing. Like odd time signatures galore, great guitar solos. The guitar is there, it's present, and it's rocking and it's riffing, and the solos are amazing. Like Lifeson really worked on a new sound in his solos, very again lush, full of reverb and delay. Um, I mean, Manhattan Project, Marathon, and these tunes, they sound live amazing. I've seen Rush twice in my life, in the 2010s, and I have to say these songs from Power Windows sound amazing live. My number 10 is Counterparts with this uber minimalistic cover. Now, this is where the trajectory that started with Roll the Bones really materializes into something real and complete and organic. So we are into this period where Rush are more guitar driven, like really meat and potatoes, guitar based drums, occasional keyboards, but very occasional. Um, just from beginning to end, this is an amazing album that has all that we love about Rush, more simplified, 11 songs, but not one song is missing, not one is too much. It really is a perfect album, which has heavy moments, very heavy moments. Stick It Out is really heavy. Nobody's Hero is very emotional, with beautiful story to it in the lyrics. Deep cuts like Double Agent are just like crushingly heavy and with great instrumental passages. Leave That Thing Alone is one of the greatest instrumentals they ever recorded. I just love this album. I think it's the culmination of their 1990s journey. And then, it leads on to something new into the noughties. So, what
Yeah,
have you got?
cool. So I'm going on with my number 12, and this is Hold Your Fire.
All right. Some
Um,
appreciation for it. Yeah.
yeah, because I mean, I grew up in the 80s, so I'm really fond of this kind of sound. like yeah, basically from the album before up to yeah, up to Roll the Bones, you could say they have a similar sound. I think Roll the Bones is still a bit of an 80s album. It's from 91, so the 90s were not fully there yet. You have this reverby guitar sound that you mentioned, very clean and gleaming. Um, and I love this kind of sound. It brings me back to my childhood. And yeah, I
Hmm.
know Hold Your Fire is very maligned, and not a lot of people like it, but I think it's a beautiful album. You already mentioned Time Stands Still, which I love, but still there's this. I always struggle with myself because the chorus is pretty cheesy. It has this it almost reminds me a little bit of German Schlager because it has this driving beat, right?
Yeah,
But
yeah,
yeah, the duet with Amy Mann is great. Force 10, the opener is great. I love that one as well. Mission, you mentioned that one. Uh, Also beautiful. I even Taishan, which is a song that most people don't like. I have no problems with that one. So yeah,
yeah.
Hold Your Fire is my number 12.
All right.
My number 11, where is it? Here is Roll the Bones.
All
Um,
right. Ah, that was my last one.
yeah,
Interesting.
and yeah, you mentioned a couple of songs, Bravado, beautiful. And I don't mind Roll the Bones at all. I don't mind the rap section. I know it was it's very controversial. Uh, why do I think it works? First of all, I like the rest of the song. I think it's great. I love the lyrics. Why are we here? Because we are here. Um, it's to me it sums up everything about our existence. It's great. Very existential. And yeah, why the rap part? I think I can get away. I think they can get away with it because they have this vocal effect over it, so it's not really Geddy Lee rapping.
Yeah, yeah,
It's another voice basically, and yeah, they have a couple of those kind of vernacular of the vernacular in there, like you dig, uh, and something like that.
yeah, yeah.
But they are not trying to be Tupac on this one. So yeah, it wasn't a clever move, but I don't. To me, it doesn't ruin the song, so I like it. Um, yeah, and I like what I said about Hold Your Fire. I like the sound of it. I like how the guitar sounds on this
Yeah,
one.
yeah.
Um,
Production is good. Yeah,
and I think they are just excellent at this poppy version of themselves. I think that that's really
yeah.
good. And this is why my number 10 is Presto.
Okay.
I think these two are, and I think they have that a couple of times in their discography that they have kind of twin albums. So they work in they always have two albums that are really close to each
Yeah,
other.
that's true. Yeah,
And I think Roll the Bones and Presto are brothers, twin brothers. So they sound almost the same to me. Um,
yeah,
I have the same producer, Rupert Hines. And yeah, Show Don't Tell, great opener, Chain Lightning, The Pass, you mentioned it, War Paint, Scars. I like almost every song on this
yeah.
one, like the production. So Presto is my number 10.
Great. Okay, then my number nine, you mentioned it already, is Caress of Steel. So this was the first album I ever bought from a record store somewhere in Greece, which doesn't exist anymore. So there's a nostalgia factor, of course, tied into that. And the moment I heard Bastille Day, I mean, I bought this album because of the consensus, which was saying, you're getting into Prog. You're a Prog fan. You like Dream Theater. Well, you need to listen to Rush. Here's a Rush CD. Buy it. And the moment I heard Bastille Day and I heard the vocals of Geddy Lee, I knew I'm gonna love this because I like shrill voices like his, like Robert Plant as well, etc. So the moment I heard Bastille Day, the riff, the drums, that chorus, the instrumental section, the start-stop section. Oh my God, I was just in love with the band, totally in love. I think I'm going bald. I was able to forgive it at the time. Now, maybe not so much. It sticks out like a sore thumb. It's a cool tune, sure. It's a nice sort of, Led Zeppelin kind of tune, but it sticks out. It's like it has no place here. Lakeside Part is that gorgeous lyrical Rush. Now, the Necromancer, which has been covered by Dream Theater, tremendous epic. Is it Does it show signs that the band was still rather immature in their songwriting? Yes, it does. And the same goes for The Fountain of Lamneth, which is 20 minutes by just 1 second. And it just has various sections. It has basically, it does the whole Supper's Ready by Genesis thing. Various sections kind of tied together. Only Supper's Ready, it's all seamlessly tied together. Here, it's not seamless. Each section doesn't flow nicely into the next. So you have an epic which doesn't feel cohesive, but its constitutive parts are all fantastic. I love The Fountain of Lamneth, and The Necromancer is tremendous. That middle section is so crushing. I mean, these guys recorded this in 75, and it's like ahead of its time. So yeah, I love Caress of Steel. My number 8 is the moment where, as I said earlier, they discover the police and they're starting to get into synthwave, and that is Grace Under Pressure from 1984. It has Distant Early Warning, After Image, Red Sector A, and Between the Wheels, all 10 out of 10, and the ones in between are pretty good as well, maybe not 10 out of 10, but these are all 10 out of 10. Again, Rush transforming themselves, not remaining stagnant, doing something new, but still staying true to themselves. And they do it so well. And the real fan, I think real fan, well, that's questionable, but let's say the real fan of Rush will understand that this still is the Rush that they learned to love from the 70s, just under a different guise. And I think it's tremendous. Red Sector A is such an epic song. And when you consider that, it's about Geddy Lee's mom and the Holocaust and everything, it's so epic and deep and profound. Absolutely amazing album. And it's interesting, you said earlier that twin albums, they really do that. They have twin albums. Power Windows and Hold Your Fire are twin albums, and Grace Under Pressure is twin album with Signals, which is my number 7, I think. This is a masterpiece. I mean, it came in right after the colossal success, artistic success, market success of Moving Pictures, and it's like Moving Pictures number 2, basically. A little bit more synthwave, a little less ambitious, but still ambitious. I mean, this has masterpieces in it. The Analog Kid, Losing It, and Countdown are amazing deep tracks that are so proggy. Everything is here, just a little bit more synthesizer, and there are no songs that go over 6 minutes. So you don't have a 10-minute song or a 7-minute song. But this is a tremendous album. And again, back in my time when I started getting into Rush, the consensus was that like all the good stuff stops after Moving Pictures. That was what existed in the air around me, the discourse. And I just don't get it. Like, this is a tremendous album. I discovered these albums way after I really got into the original, like the first stuff from the 70s and the early 80s. And that's a shame. No one should be, you shouldn't listen to the consensus, just follow your path.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Cool. So my number 9 is Counterparts.
There we go. Uh-huh.
And I have this higher than Presto and Roll the Bones. It was really a close race because I think has a little bit more variety to it. I think Roll the Bones and Presto, they're very samey over the course of the album. You could also say maybe they're a bit too stuffed. And here's is a little bit more variety, more happening. Animate Me is very driving. The opener, really great song. Stick It Out, you mentioned, it is pretty heavy. Nobody's Hero is a song that always completely crushes me when I listen to it. Gives me goosebumps every time I hear it. And it's this kind of song where this kind of simplicity of Neil Peart's um, lyrics, sometimes it rubs me wrong, and sometimes it hits even harder because he's not. Um, yeah, the lyrics on this song are pretty straight to the point. There's not much talking around what it's about. So
Yeah.
and it just hits you. Yeah. So I like that one, Between Sun and Moon. Um, yeah, there again, there's is a bit heavier than the albums before. So they're in the alternative 90s with this one. I think it's a great album. Um, yeah, I think it's the highest of their later albums in my
Yeah, definitely.
yeah.
Definitely.
So this is my number nine, Counterparts. My number eight, and you just talked about it, is Signals.
There we go.
And this one, I'm kind of indecisive about this one because it has one of my absolute favorite songs, Subdivisions.
Yeah.
I think it's amazing. Another song that always I can't get enough of it. Love it. Kind of has these retro futuristic synth
Yeah,
sounds that
yeah.
are still reminiscent of the 70s. Um, but and there are more great songs on there. So I think the first three, the Analog Kid and Chemistry, is also great. I don't like Digital Man. It has
Yeah, yeah.
this kind of reggae rhythm
Yeah,
to
they really
it.
got into the reggae thing of the Police. That's the thing with
Yeah,
them.
exactly. And I don't like it. This Zion Babylon part, I don't. It just turns me off. The Weapon is great, but I had this way lower, and I thought I can't do that because the songs are so good. But it's a very cold album. Um,
Yeah,
and
steely cold.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's cold, and it's kind of depressing. It drags me down, and this is Rush usually don't
Yeah.
do that. They are a
Yeah, actually,
positive band.
when you think of it, like Subdivisions with that intro and the lyrics, which are about like
Like,
divisions in society and I think bullying and stuff like
yeah,
that, it's a bit depressing.
yeah, yeah. It's a dark album. It has a funny cover, but it's a pretty dark album. So
Yeah, it is.
and with these cold synth sounds, it always I'm kind of getting queasy listening to it. So this is why I have it a bit lower, but like I said, Subdivisions would be in my probably top five.
Yeah.
So okay, now I'm getting controversial because my number seven is Power Windows, and
Okay.
same as with Hold Your Fire, I just love this sound. Um, uh, it's really just yeah. People who are critical about this album would say, yeah, it's 80s stuff, but there's really just a when you think of the 80s, the typical 80s sound isn't from 80 to like 90 or something. It's really a smaller window where records would sound like this. So it's basically from like I don't know 84 to 87 or something like that.
Yeah.
And I love this sound. I think the songwriting comes through. Big Money, great. Grand Design, Manhattan Project, the first, they always start off great. Rush, most of the times they start off great. And I love Marathon. I think it's the masterpiece on this
Ah,
album. Uh, and I don't mind Mystic Rhythm. I like it. Yeah, I'm an idiot probably, but Power Windows is my number seven.
there you go. Cool. Stir the pot a bit. Yeah. All
It's,
right.
it's your turn
So
again.
that means I move on to my number six.
Right.
Yes. Awesome. So, contrary to you, I'm placing Fly By Night pretty much, and again, nostalgia. This one here, I got it from that same record store. This is the original Mercury CD, which behind I have the price tag with the old Greek currency of the drachma, 3,500 drachmas, which would be something like 17 euros today. Uh, now, I agree with you. There is a certain immaturity in this album, in the same way there is with Caress of Steel. They're still forming, shaping their craft. But I'm a complete sucker for Anthem, even for Best I Can, which is kind of again Led Zeppelin style. Beneath, Between, Behind, which is again inspired by, I think, The Hobbit, but it's not so cheesy as Rivendell. It's so proggy, so like it's fast paced and odd time signature. So Anthem, Best I Can, Beneath, Between, Biter and the Snow Dog, which I mean, as a big prog fan, I love Biter. I think it's a masterpiece. Again, two different sections sort of tied together, but it works for me. The album is front loaded. I love though that first side. Fly By Night is gorgeous. The rest, the other three tunes are okay. And normally I should have this lower, but just because I'm a complete sucker for that first cover of that first part of the album, I'm putting it so high. So there we go.
So do you like Rivendell?
Not so much. Like it's a fact that like if I listen to the album, I might skip Rivendell and Making Memories because I've been like floored with the first five songs, and then it takes a dip. So I should normally have this a bit lower, but I'm prejudiced. So
Yeah.
moving on, now we're getting into the grand classic masterpieces. I'm going with my number five to 2112. So as you said earlier, Caress of Steel is a complete flop. They're told to make something a bit more accessible. They don't. On the contrary, they make an album which opens with a big overture and moves on into the like this big epic that would be highly influential for so many bands. It would create a template for so many artists and bands moving on into the in heavy metal and in rock. It's a staple of the band. I mean, right now, they're playing the whole 20-minute epic. Yeah, they used to only play the overture and the Temple of Syrinx. Now they're playing the whole thing. It's as though like you have to wonder if maybe Neil Peart was always the ones placing a veto, like I don't want to play the whole 2112. Of course, 2112, the song is a masterpiece of an epic. It's the definition. You look up in the dictionary, it's like 2112 is a definition of an epic. I don't need to say more. The second half, Passage to Bangkok, tremendous, tremendous song. Classic Rush, proggy, interesting, challenging, melodic, epic, and all in just 3 minutes and 34 seconds. Twilight Zone is gorgeous. It's brooding and dark and layered. Lessons, okay. Tears is beautiful. And Something for Nothing is a good rocker. It's a really, really good rocker. I don't see why people sometimes malign the second half and only focus on the epic. I think the second half is tremendous. And then I'm going to 1980, yes, 1980, with the album that will usher the band into the 80s. It has a bit of an 80s sound, and that is, of course, Permanent Waves with this very classic cover. Just 6 songs. The album doesn't exhaust you, doesn't overstay its welcome, and you get a beautiful package where it leaves you even wanting more. It's perfect. From Spirit of Radio to Natural Science, all 10 out of 10. You get rockin' proggy songs like Free Will, and Spirit of Radio is somewhat proggy, but of course very, very catchy. They can write really catchy songs. Their songwriting skills they've really honed them at this point. They've become excellent songwriters. This could be for many the best album. It might not be my favorite, but it could be the best because they've become perfect songwriters at this point. They have a bit of everything in perfect, nice packages. Nothing bloated, not something kind of like being too short and poppy. It's just perfect. Jacob's Ladder is that kind of like really hardcore prog, and Natural Science as well. It's 9 minutes and it has sections that are very, again, demanding, challenging to the listener. So this is, again, we're talking about the 10 out of 10s at this point.
Yeah, cool. So my number 6 is Grace Under Pressure.
All right.
And yeah, I thought about putting it higher, but I think we had this a couple of times. It dips a little bit in the second half, but yeah, for Red Sector A alone,
Yeah.
this ranks so high because this is another song that always kills me when I listen to it. I mean, coming from Germany, there's a special connection to this song, of
Obviously,
course.
yeah.
And yeah, and also again, Neil Peart, the lyrics. I mean, it's about Geddy's experience, but the way Peart writes this, it's very simple and straight to the point, and no fussing around what it's about, you know,
Yeah.
staying alive and making it out alive. And yeah, it's a great song. And yeah, you said it's a twin album to Signals. I think it's yeah, it's also a bit colder, but sound wise, I think it tends more to the albums afterwards. So great melodies on it. The first tracks, Distant Early Warning, amazing. The Enemy Within is also great. Also has a bit of that reggae feel, right? The Enemy Within.
Yeah, yeah, the police thing. Yeah.
But yeah, I like this one. So yeah, number six, great. I think it's great. Grace Under Pressure.
Awesome.
My number five, I have the same as you, is 2112.
All right.
Um, had it higher actually, but just today I listened to the first half of their discography again, and then I punched it down. Um, uh, yeah, but right now we're nitpicking, right? Because the albums are all great and highly influential. Each has its own character and mood. Um, I'm usually not that big on these long epics, and I'm not a concept album fan. Always think that it's a bit cheesy, but um, 2112 is just each of these parts works like its own song. So that's why it works
Yeah.
for me, because you can just pick out the part you like, and each of these parts works like its own song. But I completely agree with you. The second half is just as good. And yeah, maybe people are focusing too much on this influential epic. But yeah, Passage to Bangkok. I I mean, it shouldn't surprise you. It's a complete stoner track, right? It's basically going around the world and taking different drugs, and
Exactly.
it totally fits because I mean they are a prog band from the 70s, but I never. It just occurred to me today, and I've never seen Rush are a bit to me they are a bit these square docky guys, and I could never
Yeah,
imagine them doing drugs, but yeah, obviously they probably tried something out here and there.
probably.
Um, Twilight Zone, agree, a great song. I also like Lessons, Tears, very moving, and yeah, I also like the closing track, The Rocker, Something for Nothing. So this is my number five, and my number four is A Farewell to Kings,
Hmm.
and I love this one. A Farewell to Kings, the title track opens this album, absolutely great. Uh, Xanadu, also one of my absolute favorite songs. Another epic 10 minutes. I think it's perfect. Absolutely great song. Closer to the Heart was their first hit. I like that one as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, then there are two tracks, and these are the reasons why it's just on four. I don't like Cinderella Man that much. I mean, it's not a bad song, but yeah, it doesn't really do that much for me. Madrigal is very short. Um, but then it has this really proggy epic Cygnus X1 Book One, the first part of this, and this is just mind blowing what they are doing in these 10 minutes. So it's a perfect
Yeah.
closer for
Mind
the
blowing.
album.
Exactly.
And yeah, A Farewell to Kings is my number four.
Awesome. Okay. My top three then. Uh, maybe a bit predictable. So I'm going here pretty much with what the consensus kind of is. Okay, well, actually, the consensus is that this is the greatest album of the band, Moving Pictures. Uh, in case anyone wants to know, the cover shows a bunch of guys moving pictures, so frames, which, the cover of the album shows them moving pictures. There's a few people on the sides who are looking at the pictures, which are moving. They're moving to them, so they are crying because they're moved by it. And on another side of the picture, there is a film crew who are filming them. So they're filming a picture. So it's a triple entendre. Yeah, they were quite dorky in that kind of way. Uh, so much has been said about moving pictures. This is the point. This is the peak of their songwriting prowess, basically. Like this, at this point, the band has become they're a trio of perfect songwriters who, in unison, create perfect songs, just absolutely perfect. There's so much to envy in their songwriting skills. I think this was the I think the second album that went platinum. Permanent Waves also I think went platinum. And what is there to say about it? I mean, obviously it has Tom Sawyer, which is like, you know, so classic. It's like saying that, I don't know, you don't like eating bread, for instance, right? I mean, you don't like Tom Sawyer. It has those classic fills, which everyone knows and everyone air drums to. I mean, Neil Peart, for a prog drummer who wrote such demanding and complex drums, he created also these really catchy proggy fills that everyone air drums to. And everyone was expecting Annika Nielsen to hear her do them and to nail them. And the moment she nails those particular fills, everyone just loses their mind. It's the most, pun intended, it's the most moving thing on the internet right now. Hearing people roaring when Annika nails those fills on Tom Sawyer. One of their best instrumentals, YYZ. Limelight is a gorgeous, rocking prog song about fame. The Camera Eye. Witch Hunt, amazing. Like they start to introduce those kind of lush synths, which will then later prevail much more. And Vital Signs has a bit of that reggae thing going on, but it's not overpowering. It's one of the greatest albums in the history of music, full stop. But not my absolute favorite. My second favorite is Hemispheres. And here we just have four compositions, complete, perfect album. Again, it leaves you wanting more, doesn't overstay its welcome. Cygnus X1 Book 2 is like this perfect 18-minute epic that feels almost seamless in how it connects all the parts together. And it is kind of dorky in the sense that it has that kind of, Lord of the Rings kind of vibe to it with these like planets and stories of Apollo and gods and whatnot. But it is, again, as you said about X1, uh, it's mind blowing what they do in the time they have. Circumstances, a bit like a Passage to Bangkok, 3 minutes 40 of a great rockin' proggy song with great epic feel. The Trees, what an amazing story in the lyrics about, an allegory about trees. Maybe a bit preachy, but I just love the lyrics. They're both playful and interesting. And La Villa Strangiato is their greatest instrumental. They still play it live. They've always played it live. It's a colossal composition. And your number five, I think, is my number one, Farewell to Kings. I just love this album. I don't think it's their greatest, but I adore it. When I got it, I kept playing it over and over and over. I couldn't get enough of anything here. I agree that Cinderella Man is kind of falls short in relation to everything else, but I still really like it. Madrigal is like a beautiful kind of little break. And it is a madrigal. It is based on the sort of composition style of a madrigal. And the rest is just, what is there to say? Xanadu is probably my favorite Rush song ever. I was I was on the verge of tears almost to discover that they're playing it. They're opening their tour with Xanadu. I mean, who would have ever expected that? Farewell to Kings is again that chorus, the power, the epicness, the musicality, the emotion closer to the heart. I mean, I've been listening to Rush for over 20 years, and this is still one of my favorite albums. So my number one is Farewell to Kings.
Cool. Okay, so my top three. Haha. And my number three is Permanent Waves.
All right.
Um, and to me, it's kind of somehow it's a weird album to me because it looks like very mainstream pop to me, the cover
It does.
artwork, and it sounds that way too. And the songs don't strike me as really proggy, although they're intricate like you would expect from Rush, but they are not Cygnus X1 or something. And then it's only 6 songs, so it's to me it's a kind of weird album, but I really like it. Uh, I mean, I have it on 3, so obviously I like it. And yeah, I mean, The Spirit of Radio is one of their all-time classics. Um, it's so small. Free Will is another one of these songs that are a bit preachy in the lyrics. I think it's these
Yeah.
philosophy student wanting to share what he's just learned. Jacob's Ladder is probably the best song on the album. I think it's the most interesting
Very
and
dark.
and
Yeah.
yeah, very heavy and lots happening. Entre Nous is great. Yeah, I mean this just 6 great songs, but yeah, it's weird because it's the album where they start to get a little bit more accessible, but then it's just these 6 songs. So structurally it's a prog album, right?
Yeah, yeah, it is.
And then today I switched my places 1 and 2. And my number 2 now is Moving Pictures.
All right.
And yeah, you summed it up perfectly. To many people, this probably would be the number 1. I guess it's the perfect middle ground between uh, yeah, a bit mainstream, accessible Rush and prog Rush. Um, so I guess it's the album that even the guys from the 70s can live with, um, compared to what comes after this one. Yeah, Tom Sawyer, Goosebumps song, amazing. The Camera Eyes, this great epic. Um, YYZ, love that one. I don't really, but maybe I have to listen to it again. But I don't really see why Red Barchetta is so beloved. To me,
Mm.
it's a good song, but it doesn't stand out to me like this classic. Limelight, great, yeah, a beautiful album, and yeah, probably great entry point for someone who doesn't know Rush and doesn't know where to
Definitely.
start because you get a little bit of everything on that one. But my personal favorite as of this point is Hemispheres.
All right. My number 2. Yeah.
And it starts with the cover artwork. I love the color scheme on that one. This sky
Yeah, yeah.
blue with the red logo, the brains. I don't mind the naked ballet dancer. I don't care. Um,
It's part of their logo anyway.
yeah,
Yeah.
and then it's just the high point of proggy Rush. Uh, Cygnus X1 Part 2 or Book 2 is even better than Part 1 to me. It's even more sophisticated, longer, it's more happening, it's heavier. Yeah, then Circumstances is great. I love that one. It's probably my favorite of the heavy tracks. Also, yeah, it's accessible, but then it has these weird time signatures to it. Um, yeah, the trees is this song where I'm going to struggle with Neil Peart's lyrics, but it's well-meaning and it's kind of fun, kind of wistful and whimsy and yeah. Um, but then it ends with La Villa Strangiato and it's kind of lights out because it is
Yeah.
just amazing. And yeah, it's to me this sums up what Rush were doing in the 70s, and right now this is where what I'm drawn to most.
Exactly.
Um, yeah, I kind of discovered it again for this exercise, because usually when I want to listen to Rush, I gravitate towards them. stuff from the 80s and 90s, but yeah, Hemispheres is just great, great musicianship.
I mean,
It's still great
it's
school.
always it's a matter of mood. Like, are you in the
Yeah,
mood for the stuff from the 90s or from the
yeah,
80s or
yeah,
the noughties? I mean, it's that's the great thing about them.
yeah, yeah, right.
Yeah.
Nice. So
Cool. Yeah, I enjoyed that, man. I'm really was really thrilled to be here. Cool.
yeah, and I was thrilled that we could finally make it happen. And we will find another band, and hopefully Alex will share in, and we will do another prog band.
Awesome.
There's lots of stuff we
Okay.
can do, and yeah, thank you for being here and doing this with me.
Thank you for having me. Yeah.
And we'll see you again. So I hope you enjoyed our show, ranking all the studio albums by Canadian prog titans Rush. If you liked it, don't forget to give me your thumbs up or ask your thumbs up, subscribe to our channel, and yeah, tell us in the comments what you think about our ranking. How would you rank these albums? What are your favorites? Tell us about your relation to Rush. And yeah, return to Rock Kaput for the next ranking or the next show. Hope to see you soon.
Cool.
Bye
Okay.
bye.
Take care. Bye.